Hi everyone. So how's the life? How's your life? I hope everything is fine there. You are well because I am. Today, it's time for psychoanalysis, one of the literary approaches, literary theories. Okay, so psychoanalysis is created by Sigmund Freud, and it was originally, right? It was originally a study and a treatment for mentally ill patients. Uh, in the cases of paranoia, schizophrenia, phobia, and then neurotic and psychotic problems, right? Um, the psychoanalysis becomes part of the nowadays or the modern days of psychology, and then it is also very much influencing the psychotherapy, and also psychiatrists too. However, psychoanalysis has also a very huge impact and influence to literature, especially in the case of literary criticism, literary theories. This idea, right, focuses on the psyche of the unconsciousness of human's mind, right, which according to psychoanalysis, according to Sigmund Freud, right, so our psyche, our consciousness controls and governs practically the consciousness, practically everything, what we do, what we eat, our taste, our fashion taste, our movie taste, the way we speak, the way we talk, the way we walk, practically everything. However, this psyche, right, this psyche is part of the unconsciousness. So basically we are not aware of this unconsciousness which operates, right, in our mind, right. So that is the basic concept of psychoanalysis. Today, right, I'm going to focus on one of the elements, one of the prominent ideas, right? One of the prominent ideas in psychoanalysis. This is called as free association. Again, free association was originally used to treat a mentally ill patient, whether it is like a simply neurotic problems with the being anxious, your anxiety, to the more severe problems, like if you're having paranoia, right, and then schizophrenia, that kind of thing. Free association is some kind of methodology, right, to gain the information out of the patient. This information uh, is uh, this information is not easy to find, because it should be taken from the human's mind, from the unconsciousness. So of course the patient is not aware of this information, right. The information is later will be used to treat the patient, to try to cure, right, to cure the mental problems. So the free association, in free association, the psychoanalyst will talk, right, freely to the patient by basically like a random conversation, right. Any kind of random conversation, talking about daily life, about the hobby and stuff. But in this process, the psychoanalyst will try to find the connection, right, try to dig the information out of the unconsciousness of the patient from the from the memory of the childhood memory, recollection, and then try to recall, right, recall the memory from the patient unconsciously. In the end, after the psychoanalyst finds this kind of different information, right, so he or she will try to interpret what happens with this person, what is actually his or her real problem, what happened in his or her childhood, and then what he is trying to cover or to hide unconsciously again. So in literature, uh, in a literary approach, in literary theory, the analysts, right, like us, for example, if you want to make some kind of, oh, okay, the researcher, we are the researcher, right? The researcher will treat the characters, right? The characters in a fictional books, in a novels, right? In a novel, in drama or play, right? Or in a movie, as a patient. So we, as a researcher, as the researchers, will try to find out the information, to dig the information from the characters. How? By reading, watching, right, interpreting. I will give you an example, an exact example. For example, I have the novel here, it's a very famous one by Thomas Harris. The title is The Silence of the Lambs. This novel is famous for the character, the main characters. He's a antagonist but acts as a protagonist. So basically, he's a bad guy. The Hannibal Lecter. The name is Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal Lecter acts as a bad guy in the novel, but he's the main character. Okay, so here, Hannibal Lecter is a psychopath. All right, he's also a cannibal. All right, so we will try to find what happened with Hannibal Lecter. What happens with Hannibal Lecter? So we can say that Hannibal Lecter is a psychopath. How do you know? How do you know? So we have to explain what psychopath is, and the definition, the characteristics, and so on, based on the psychoanalysis theory, right? And then using the free association, we will try to prove that he is a psychopath from how? Of course, by reading it, by finding the evidence and the proofs, which refer to the definition or the explanation of the psychopath, what psychopath is according to the psychoanalysis. And then the second way is to explain the causes of Hannibal Lecter. Why does he become a psychopath? So of course we have to read for the information in his past life, his childhood, and then the way he talks, the way he walks, and so on, based on the sentences, based on the acts, based on the scenes in this novel. And we will try to gain the information as much as possible, so that in the end we can make some kind of interpretation, some kind of conclusion, right? The difference is that we will try to communicate with the novel by finding out the information from the story, right? From the sentences here, from the explanation here, the dialogues, and then what people say about the character, and then what the character explains about himself, and so on. So we treat the character as a patient. So that is the point of free association. This is a very simple explanation. Of course, to make a real research, we need to read more. We need to find the information more about free association and then psychoanalysis, and then also depends on what topic that we are discussing. If you want to discuss about phobia, we have to know what phobia is. According to the theories, you can take, for example, like uh, uh, Sigmund Freud or Carl Gustav Jung, or maybe Jacques Lacan and many others, right? Eric Fromm, right? Many other psychoanalysts. And then after we find out what we are going to discuss, right? And then we will try to dig the information. We will try to gain the information by uh, uh, by communicating, by talking, right? By talking, but through this, but via this, right? And then we will try to interpret the, maybe like the symptoms, right? Or the result of our analysis, okay, using the data that we have found. Okay, that's a very simple explanation about the free association. I hope it will give you some kind of insight. I think that's enough for now. So I'm out. Thank you very much. Bye.